All right, guys, Smotive Pro sent us this double flaring toolkit here. This is so that you can make flares on things such as brake lines. I actually just ran into this last weekend before I got the tool. And if I could have just flared the brake line, I could have done the repair easily right there, but I had to go out and find a matching brake line to install. So let's take a look at this brake line right here. This is a factory flare. This broken piece of brake line here, we have the factory flare. This is a double flare here. You see we fit flush right there to screw into the caliper or the brake line. And we've got a little bit of a recess in there. Supposedly with this kit, we're going to be able to reproduce this on this other end of the line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put our screw backwards there, so when we flare this, we're going to be able to see that it matches up just like it did on the original. Our kit here comes with instructions. Flaring tool has a couple of sizes here. We've got an Allen wrench. We've got a couple of stop nuts here. That's so that we can put the line in at the correct distance to get the correct flaring. We'll demonstrate that, and it comes with just a little bit of grease here as well. Okay, to use the tool, we're going to loosen up the screws here. You see it's for two different size lines here. Those sizes would be for 3/16 inch SAE and 1/4 inch SAE. This brake line is a 1/4 inch. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to insert our brake line into the 1/4 inch. We can see the brake line coming through on the other end here. We need it at an exact distance. That's where our 1/4 inch stop nut is going to come in. We're going to screw the stop nut in. And now, as you can see, the brake line has a definite stopping point. Okay, we're going to hold that brake line in place, tighten down the clamp. Includes the Allen wrench for you here. You want to tighten these pretty secure. We can now remove our stop, and we see our brake line is positioned. Okay, so now we want to consult our directions. We're going to start off with doing a bubble flare on this. And a lot of brake lines, that's all you'll have is just the bubble flare. This one's going to be double, actually. We want our 1/4 inch with our arrow going in this direction. Now, got a little bit of grease here. We're going to lubricate the end of this just a bit. And we just simply screw it into the 1/4 inch. You see that it's going to eventually come into contact with our brake line that's been positioned. All right, the instructions show to use your Allen wrench as a lever here to turn that. I can tell you that's going to be pretty hard. I noticed that it's got a fitting for a wrench here, so we're going to take an 11/16 wrench, and that's a lot easier. All right, and I can feel it's bending the metal a little bit here. Okay, so we just go until it's flush, back that out, and loosen up our clamp. Okay, and if we look, wow, it actually did a pretty nice job of making our bubble flare. Let me clean that off just a little bit. That's pretty good. Now, the difference is if we look at the other end, we've got a little bit of a recess on this side here. We don't have it here, but we can create it with the kit. All right, and actually we wouldn't have had to remove the brake line there. We could have just gone and created our recess into that flare, but I just wanted to see what it looked like. I've actually never done this before. So we're going to have to reposition our stop here to get our brake line back where it would have been if we didn't remove it. I think if I do this in the future, I'm just going to trust the tool because it absolutely made a beautiful bubble flare there. Okay, got that all tightened up there. Remove our stop. Our brake line is back in position. Now what we're going to do is flip this tool around One of the things with this is you don't want to tighten this one in all the way. We just kind of need to do this a little bit at a time until we get the proper recess in here. So we're going to insert our tool with the arrow the opposite direction now. It goes right into our flare there. I think I'm just going to try turning this maybe one turn. If we look in there, we can see that it is creating a little bit of a recess around that hole already. It may just go a quarter of a turn more. Okay, and then let's back that out and let's check our work. There may be a little bit of a trial and error with this to get it to where you want on a double flare. But on a single or bubble flare, it looks like it should do it the very first time. Oh wow, and look at that. It absolutely created a recess. Look at that, compared with our other end there. And let's check here. And we can see the screw comes perfectly flush up to it. That should create a fluid tight seal. All right, thumbs up on this one, the Smotive Pro. I really like how simple the instructions were. You can just look at the pictures and just figure out which type of fitting you're trying to make and which tools to use. Really, if you think about it, there's only 3 tools to create even a complex fitting like this double flare. You just have your tool and then 2 sides of your flare creator and your stop nut there. That's pretty much it. So it's really, really simple, despite the fact it looks like there's a lot of parts here. And it absolutely made a beautiful flare with no burrs or anything like that. It's absolutely perfectly factory smooth. All right, Smotive Pro for the win. Thanks for watching.